How's everybody doing today? We are going to do a little bit of experimenting today with a library called React Flow. I've had my eye on this for a little bit now, and it seems to be a kind of an interesting mix between using components and D3 and being able to mix that together, which provides some interesting flexibility. And specific to our use case, we've got data that makes sense to be visualized in sort of a flow graph type way. So I think this will be a good use case for it. Let's pop right over to this. So here you can see the docs. I've gotten into the docs a little bit. I'll probably end up coming back and forth a little bit, explaining what's going on with them. But what we're going to do is we've got a UI started already, so we're going to go ahead and get that up and running, and then we'll start working on implementing React Flow into that as a separate page. Let's go ahead and check out a branch right away before I forget about that. We'll say UI/. I'm fine with that. Okay, so packages and UI. So we're going to probably want to watch this so we can see the updates. It is a parcel app, if you can see from the scripts there. And I believe it only has one page. So we're probably going to want to throw in React Router. So it is a React app. Oh, interesting. Okay, well, we can worry about that later. Pre-existing stuff. So we only have one page right now. I think we add in React Router first, and we'll go from there. I just implemented this on another website. I think I could probably just copy paste that. The new React Router, that is, v6. Go ahead and go to GitHub. I think I put it in this one. So this is what we're gonna need. Simulacrum packages. I think we were on a version of npm that I can do this npm install directly in the directory. I believe so. npm I. React router. React router DOM. And I think we're probably gonna have to do this at next. I think that is a next. We'll find out. So let's hide a bunch of the stuff, because all I need really is the app root. I'll grab just that same structure there to save me Save me a little bit of effort here. Pages. It would just be an app. Pages, homepage. Okay. Alright, so definitely don't have it on the homepage. I think it's just in the... Oh, you know what? I merged that in already. So I really want to do this index and see we've got router. So I think that's all we're gonna really need to do is add in this router from reach. Oh. I guess I did switch it in there. Oh, and it's probably in the index. That's, I think, what's going on. I didn't call it app. Yep. 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 Okay. So this, our install should be done. Yeah, see, it put a log file in the... I think you have to do that from a workspace thing. It's kind of annoying, I'm not gonna lie. But it did give us the right versions. So, grain of salt, I guess. So, in here, I want that. And we end up having just this routes. And we don't really have any header or anything yet. Although I think eventually we'll have some of that. But since graphql is like a whole separate page, I think what we're gonna end up doing here is we'll say something like that, and graphql is going to be one of the elements or one of the routes. So we'll have our routes, and then within each route we put the header, I guess. It's a little bit annoying, I'm not gonna lie. Routes. So we're gonna put that in there for right now. So this should give us the same configuration. We did not break anything, so we'll go ahead and start watching this. I should start up a server, bump over to our browser. And if we did it right, we should now have graphical instance. Build serve watch. Is it serve that I need to run? Doesn't seem to be running at all. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. Oh, that's just for the build. See, I'm not sure if this is going to work either. We might need to do the watch and then run. an actual Simulacrum instance to get it to work. Okay, so that does seem to work. But we're getting kind of an odd error there. We'll run with this for the moment though. Okay, so we've got one route. We're gonna add a new route. Path equals, just call it graph. Element equals thing. So we have app. Call it graph.tsx. And I think we're only going to need. That's interesting. Where's this React element? Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. TSX. GraphQL. So we're going to just want to say import graph page from .graph. Export const graph page. We'll just render like a div for right now. Return div, just so we are certain that it is working. Boop. And our element is going here. Okay. Might need to tweak my settings because I think my prettier installation is formatting things slightly different than what we have. We don't have much here, so I think I'm just gonna leave it for the moment. So this should give us a new page called graph. Path is slash graph. Why are you not helping me out here? Path slash graph, graph page. And I guess I can type it. And then honestly, I probably should anyways, but save children for right now. I think that's gotta be the only thing, right? Okay. Invalid prop element. Supplied to route. Expected a single React element. Oh. Of course. This needs to be that. There we go. Okay. So we have our page. I think the next thing we do is start bringing in React Flow. Go ahead and just copy that. I think it's work w-w simulacrum /UI. We are using npm 7, which has workspaces support built in. And this -w command installs it in this specific package. Okay. So I think we can kind of grab this. We will drop it in here and see what we're working with. Oh. That's not where I wanted it. I wanted it there. We'll just do this right now, for right now. So it's going to end up being our full page. There we go. So that's pretty cool. It's going to be, so right now it's taking up the whole page. And the way React Flow does it is it's a combination of components and an SVG lines. So these connecting paths are SVG. And what that means is you can pass in custom components, like React components for the boxes. And you can pass in custom styles for the SVG lines. Which ends up being a pretty nifty architecture. Oh, hey, Fragility, thank you for the follow. How are you doing today? Fragilities. Okay, so we've got kind of got our base level use case. I think the next thing, I only have two of those pages opened up. Interesting. Okay, so there's the nodes and the edges. The edges are the SVG elements. Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. Let's inspect this component structure here. So you can see we have divs, and those are the components that are coming in. And then we have this SVG element, and that's a sibling of the components, and it covers the whole area. And that is actually what's determining, well, that's what's holding the drawn paths that connect these components. So what it's using is it's using D3.js, which is another library. It's a lower level SVG and canvas based library. And it's very powerful, but it's a lower level, so it's not uncommon for things to sort of build on top of it and make it easier, particularly like framework specific implementations. So what it's doing is they're using that to calculate, based off of these components, the lines connecting these pieces, I believe, from what I've looked at it. So we want to, we're likely going to want to do some custom nodes. And we could probably play around a little bit with the data. Let's, what kind of data do we have? So we have IDs, we have labels. Oh, that's kind of cool. Label. So where's the label for, oh, label, node, got you. Okay, so you can either pass a string or a component. Position is like the initial position. I wonder if we don't put the position in there, is it going to, does not like that. ID data. Yes. Okay. Source is undefined. Target is undefined. Mated. I'm not sure why it doesn't like that. That wasn't doing that before, was it? Yeah, so it doesn't draw it at all. So I wonder if we need to do. Okay, so this is the first thing we can look into. Position. It is required. Interesting. So it doesn't have anything to help out. Well, before I say that, let's check to make sure. Zoom pan helper. Update node internals. Also updates the internal size. So we've got this elements. If we start to make this dynamic, what does that end up looking like? Actually, let's do this to get our positions back. We have some ESLint rules that you can only have consts in the top level, which is kind of better representative of the implication that consts have. It doesn't necessarily track with how it can be used, because you can still modify const, but that tends to be a little bit better representation of how you're going to end up using it, and that it could be mutated. And speaking of mutated, so if we do because I'm going to be lazy and I know this example is going to be out there. React, use effect timeout. Like, we basically just want this. Return clear timeout. So I want to do. I guess we can just start with this. I kind of want to do it every so often. But that's fine. We'll run with this for the moment. Gotta import it. Timer. Const. Yes, I know you don't like const. Okay. So that's gonna run. That's gonna run after a second, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna do elements dot push. I think we basically do something like this. Well, we'll do 2 pushes. Push that, and we'll push this. So what I'm trying to do is I want to see what happens when we mutate this. Something's going to happen, and I want to see how it deals with it updating. So this is going to be ID 3. We're going to say node 3. We're going to say Y is 5, 100. We'll call that 200. And this is going to go from 2 to 3. We made it true. And we don't need a position for edge elements. So I'm assuming that if we specify a source and a target, then we don't need a specified position. So if we go ahead and do this, it ran and it didn't update. Okay. So I think this is where we need to do update node internals when you're changing the number or the position of handles inside a custom node. Oh. Update node internals and node ID. So, okay, use state initial elements. Ah, oh, okay. On connect, add edge. Gotcha. Okay. Oh, hey, here we go. We probably should have just did this first rather than me playing around with it. Because honestly, this is probably more helpful. Pan movable interaction. Oh, that's kind of nifty. Default node input, output. So with this, we're going to end up drawing like server nodes and then potentially like data nodes. So we might end up wanting to it's possible that we want to save or have a toggle to show or hide the data, because if you have a large amount of data, that might be like this, you know. I mean, it seems like it functionally works pretty fine. So like even with my computer streaming, like if I do, looking at the, yeah, doesn't seem to really be taxing anything at all. Obviously that's going to be different on based on the computer, but oh, that's cool. Updatable edge. Ah, okay. That's cool. Update node. Yeah, so it looks like what we're doing is we're doing, yeah, and they do have this use effect here. Let's create a new object here in order to notify React Flow about the change. So we start out with initial elements. And I think in our case, we're going to want to do none. React Flow, fit view. I do think we want the controls in there. I guess we kind of want remove edge, add edge. That must be that interaction. Maximize. Okay. I'm gonna assume that we probably want. Oh. Minimap. Oh, that's cool. So in the minimap, you can determine the colors and whatnot there too. Okay. Cool. All right. So let's start nabbing bits and pieces from this. So it looks like React Flow is a default export. We'll do that. Right now we're just returning React Flow. I'm fine, go ahead and doing this. Those are going to be in there. So what do we got? Okay. We got the mini map and we got that. We can come back to it and tweak it. We want to have this. I'm not quite sure. I guess fit view. Where are they calling fit view? Initial elements. Okay. And I guess this kind of gets into label. So style, they've got stuff written directly on the. So we're probably gonna we're gonna grab data from the GraphQL server, and we're gonna have to mash it around a little bit before we actually pipe it into this. So we'll be able to set like the initial elements, and I think in our case it's gonna end up being. Just go ahead and get rid of this. In our case, I think it's gonna end up being nothing. And go ahead and move this out. We want use state, initial elements, gonna be nothing. On elements remove. How do you remove them? What is it removing? I guess is maybe the on elements remove, set element, remove element, on connect. Oh, so there's the edges. I don't think we're gonna have to futz around with the edges at all. That feels like we're mostly looking at a display sort of situation. So here we've got, yeah, like we don't really need that because at least at the moment we're not going to be making those connections. So we'll leave that out for right now. What is potentially possible is we could have this be a display and it's something that sort of sits on top of the, or well, not on top of, but like next to the GraphQL instance, where theoretically this could also be a thing where you spin up additional servers. So you might want to like manually play around with or add people directly through this UI. It's possible, but I think there's better ways to do that. And especially if it's something that you're doing often, you want to have a way to do that programmatically, likely. And we've also talked about like bringing in React Admin, and React Admin would let us, it would let us quickly spin up a dashboard that you could see this stuff in a like a list format. And this might end up being, this view might just end up being included in one of those dashboard views. That's entirely possible and probably pretty likely. If we end up including this anywhere. But if that's the case, then I think it makes more sense to push that onto the React admin. Because it's going to have some more stuff built in to easily deal with that. So, we were looking at examples. So we don't want to do, we do want to do like an update node. Gotcha. So that's our update node. So if we would do like, yeah, cool. Okay. So it's pulling in some CSS. It is class-based, so it's filling out some of this stuff for us. So like those have specific classes, and you can pull in CSS that will target those CSS classes, or the, excuse me, those HTML element classes. So that's one way you can style it. Others, you can give it styles in the style prop, I believe. It's important that you create a new object here. So I think we'll end up having something like this. use effect set elements. Okay, so it looks like it's recreating element.data. Label node name. Okay, so it's mapping over all the elements. So set elements, we get all of the elements. It maps over it and it returns. Oh, and it's returning L's. Okay. So it maps over that array and basically mutates, well, it returns a new set of data. And it's important that you create a new object here. So I must do some stuff with that instance of the Pojo. Important that you create an object here. So styles. It's kind of interesting that they did this twice. L.style, L.data. I guess you can only edit how they have it. This is running every time. So if you change this every time you change it, it's going to rerun that on change. So there's no way theoretically that you'd be able to change both the data and the style at the same time. So that's why they're doing it like this. That's why they have 3 use effects, which feels, I guess, I mean, input, checkbox, classes, okay, and those probably come in with that. So what we want is we're going to be changing the props. So really, I think we're going to want to end up pulling in like React Query into this maybe. What are we working with? 40 minutes. So I think we have a pretty good idea. I guess let's try. We need to play around a little bit with how the data comes in, but let's try the custom components, custom connection. That's kind of cool. And you can change these. Variance equals lines. Oh. Here, connection line. Connection line component. So I don't think, I mean, we're mostly going to be using this for viewing. So I think we're going to end up just leaving out all this state and maybe we just pass in the props. I think that's probably the right answer here. So we'll do a graph page. We're still going to export that. And that's going to return a graph. And that's where we're going to be doing the data stuff. And within there, we want to say, we don't care about children. Oh wait, extra space. I don't need you. And I'm not going to have a use state here. We're probably going to have a state up there. So I guess really all we want to do is say elements equals elements. We'll be passing in the elements. And that's how we're going to be setting that. n is not assignable to type string. I mean, okay. That's the downside of using TS. Once you start pulling in other code, it's questionable the how it was written. Not saying that this is necessarily wrong, it's just it's not. This might need a little bit of TS munging or type munging to get it to look nice. So we don't use that, we do use that. So this should give us, this is sort of like our initial props. So this should give us the same thing if I didn't give anything up. Cannot access elements one before initialization. Graph page. Oh, gotcha. Okay. That's what it is. So we've got a name clash. So really, I want initial elements to be this, because I have a use state elements there. There we go. Okay. So let's try. We don't want any of the interaction. We do want some custom nodes and components. So like this is kind of cool. It's cool that it actually does the background. And that comes in through set elements. So we start out with oh, interesting. This architecture ends up meaning that I feel like they end up using a lot of use effect. Like this kind of stuff. Just callback use effect. Which is not wrong. It's just a little bit. Like it's fine, except it's not easy to fall into the pit of success when you're relying on having to use effect. And even if these are contrived examples, like you kind of want a real world example, I feel like. So minimap, node color, these are all things that we've done. Drags, we're not connecting, we're not clicking the element. Snap to grid. So all we really care about is that custom component. And we are passing it. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's the selector node. So where does that custom component come in? That, so. Custom. Okay. So in our custom node, or in our custom in our custom node, we're gonna need to use this handle. So we'll just go ahead, we're gonna plop it in here like this. We're gonna say we want I don't really need all of this. I don't need it exported either. what we're going to do is we're going to set this. I'm not sure why it's memo. Const custom node equals that. And where does that come in? So background color, custom. Node types, selector node. So I think what it ends up doing is, if the type is selector node, so you set up a type, and then that way you can, in your minimap or I guess it's mostly minimap, you can respond to that. Is it in our set elements? Type selector node. Okay. So there's a default type. Type. Yep. Node types. Gotcha. Okay. It's kind of interesting that you don't need to do types for everything. So I'm guessing it just assumes it's like a string. I guess it just uses the default if it doesn't have any type set. Which is certainly fine. And I guess if we're munging around with the data, we don't really want to try to pipe that component into each one of those. Let's see if okay, so 3 different node types: default, input, and output. And output only has an target handle. Yep. Okay, so I think what I end up wanting to do is say React Flow. We're gonna have node types. I'm just gonna do it directly on the component like this. And this is going to be our custom node. So now if we want to show elements, if we want to add this, we can say this should be, that label is fine. And here we're going to say type. So I'm guessing it just used the default. If you do not set anything, it's going to use the default. And I'm presuming that the, we have a type in here. Oh yeah, okay, yep. So I just used the default. So the default is for, it has an input and an output. That's the default. That's awesome. Okay. So it clearly doesn't have the CSS there, but it's got some pieces in there that actually work. So that's, I think that's just the built-in color picker component. class. Yeah. Handle input. Gotcha. Okay. So I think we've got enough to work with here. Let's think about how we're going to pipe data into this. And what I had mentioned before is that we were looking at using React admin. And that is something that we started sort of like spiking out what it could look like. So we'll end up having sort of these simulators that have different scenarios and services that can be set up with them. And the scenarios would let you quickly run, sort of in the vein of like Post. Is it Postman? Didn't rebrand that or anything, did they? Where you can run, you could kind of save a mutation and you could run it multiple times or run it again later. And we were doing some testing on how it would work with the Stars API, so that's where all these kind of come from. So you'd set up different scenarios and you could run them at the same time or separately. And so like this stores/state is essentially going to be what we're looking at with this graph. We could potentially put that graph here. Event log would be like as the data changes and scenarios are running or have run, then that's going to change our state and that'll be reflected in this component. And I think we're pretty... we feel pretty good about using this. So that'll help set up a bunch of things for us. So the question here is, yeah, data provider. So this is what's actually going to be getting our data. Return these methods, HTTP requests. So what I'm curious about is how it gets its data. Are we expected to wire that part of it up? Recipes, querying the API. Oof. Can you hear that on the stream? Stretch. Auth providers. So it kind of looks caching. So how is it doing that? Supports cache headers. It calls methods on that. My data provider. Get. Okay, here, available providers. Here we go. So you hook up a data provider and that's what pulls in the actual data. So once we get to like, I think it's gonna end up looking something like the show view. This is just kind of looking at what we talked about here. Let's see. So we were talking about this on our Discord. Yeah. Okay. So I think we're gonna want the show view. So a bunch of this is just gonna be like built into it. So we'll end up getting something like these these images. I don't know if they're intentionally blurry, but so this does use material UI. Tab components. So third-party components. So if you've ever used the material design spec system, this is probably going to be this. It's going to feel similar. So how do we pass data into? So like if we have edit button, React, top toolbar, post show. So it comes with a bunch of UI things. Post list from posts. So I think I'm tempted to just use something like React Query to hit our server, but if there's something that exists, because it's just GraphQL, that's probably, it would probably be nicer to here. Oh, okay, so they use Apollo here. Sura, Hydra, JS loopback. Parse, wow, okay. I mean, it has all the data caching stuff built into it. Extending a data provider. Writing your own data provider. So let's look at this GraphQL one. See what the expectation is there. So this resource, we give it data provider, this.state, admin. So how does resource get post list, components, admin posts? I kind of wish it would like I want to see how that's getting the data. mean, I guess it shows that it's clickable. So examples. Kind of nifty. So is that? Post list. So only post create works? Must have just clicked on the one that happened to work. React admin. Like having that in the URL. Okay, so post show props, controller props. Where are you getting your data from? Record. Source. Doing any mapping? How's this? Props. Kind of like that is kind of interesting. So is it just using, it's not actually controller props. Oh, it's got a provider. Okay. I see. Okay, so if we look at like, I mean, I really just want to see like a tab, text field, title. So it's coming in from a provider. So we gotta, I mean, I guess that makes sense. So it's setting all the data at the top level. It's coming in from a context provider. So essentially anywhere in any of your components downstream from that, you are able to grab, you're able to grab that data and use it, which is nice. So how can we recreate that? Runs an introspection, passes it along. I mean, do we really want to use, I guess the big question is, do we use a Apollo based thing? Guess that kind of makes sense. Because this is a lot of stuff to hook up. And if we're gonna end up pulling in, if we're gonna pull in React admin, it would be nice to just have a lot of this come in. Using the data provider in components. Yeah, so like we're gonna have a hook, and the hook is basically gonna return the data for us. Creating the API. So can we just drop this in and kind of use this without React admin is the question now, and then eventually we'll wrap. Build GraphQL provider. Yeah, see, we're gonna have to like, we need to pass it a schema. I'm kind of just hoping that we can just hit it and get back data, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna. What's the easiest path forward? Assuming we have about 40 minutes left to work on this. I think we've got sort of a good feel for this. We're gonna need to do a little bit of munging around with the data to get it into the thing that it expects, the nodes primarily. We have to pass a position, which is unfortunate, but edge utils. So like I don't really care about the edges. Handle component. And that's only used if we're doing custom ones. And we have to, if you want to update the data or style attribute of a node, it is important that you create a new object. So if we're passing down the props, is that going to be enough to notify it of a new object? I guess depending on how we're doing that, I think it'll be fine. So what we need to do is get the data, modify it in a form that this expects, and then push it in. And we're going to be in this component grabbing it from, eventually we'll be grabbing it from the context. So we'll get a props, or we'll get a value off the context, and then we can take that, and anytime the context changes, we'll essentially have to recalculate that. Provider. If you have multiple flows, then you need to use the provider. Now, is there anything that's gonna, I don't think there's anything else that we can. It's kind of cool. Yeah, so I think we need to pull in some data. And build GraphQL. I mean, I think we might be able to just use this. So for the most part, as far as I'm aware, admin is effectively like a component lib. And so what we're doing is in the app, we are setting the app state to this data provider. So build query. So if we give it a schema, it should create network interface. Doesn't help that I haven't used Apollo yet. I've looked at it a little bit, but I haven't actually used it. So we'll give it a whirl. We'll see what we end up with. So let's pull in just this. We're gonna go up to this previous command we did. Whoops. I think we can use this. We'll use this directly. We'll do this on mount, which means I'm gonna have to change that. Oh no, I can just do it as a. So there's going to be no state to start with. I'm going to do this. Keep this in here for now as a reference on the type of data that the structure of the data that we need. This can be in a use effect. So this is only going to happen on mount. We need this. We don't care about those right now. Component from React. Oh, it extends. Dot state. That's all state stuff. To do that, we've got to use state. We have that. Build query. So build query is the schema. You must provide a build query option. The build query is a factory function. Oh, what did I do here? Unable to resolve dependency tree. Oh no. Oh, yes. So I believe I might have goofed. Router DOM. Okay. So I think what I forgot to do is add history. Did I determine that? I don't remember where I said this was. Is it actually on this? Reach, nope. Okay, so I think we need to add history. Yeah. And history. Yeah, this is frustrating. Okay, well, resolving that, found history 5. From connected React router. So React admin expects that history. So we want this. Could not resolve. I mean, I'm not sure how React admin is going to well, we may regret this, but we'll try it. So we've got a bunch of things going on here. I've got the newer version of React Router in here, but some of them are still using React Router 5. So it might end up meaning that we need to go to the the old version. But I don't think I don't think that's necessarily going to cause us an issue here. But we shall find out. Okay, so we need to do this build query thing. If we just take that out for the moment, we should have no elements. Cannot read. Yep. I think I'm actually gonna do that because I think it'll give us a better. Yeah. Okay. Because we still want this to draw if there's no elements. And now what we can do is got that. Just to make sure I don't screw up my use effect, we're gonna do that. So it should run only once when it's loaded. What syntax did I get wrong? Thought I might have had that wrong. They use it all the time here. Of course, the only one that I have, or the one that I have up doesn't have it. Okay. Oh, it's function. That's what it is. Yep. So this is what I want to do. This and this, that. There we go. So boop, just once, and not continually running. So now if we take away the boop and we put this in, it should give us and we want to do this. Failed to resolve. Yeah, this is from RA core. Okay. I mean, we're quite likely going to be using this React admin. So if I just installed that, hopefully that brings in any of the other needed dependencies. npm install React admin. Let's go ahead and just stop this for the moment. And we've got a dist and a node modules. I think parcel cache is probably the root A. Yep. I'm gonna go ahead and rm/rf dot parcel cache. And we'll take out the dist as well, just to make sure. Kind of starting fresh and we don't have any weird cache stuff going on. Okay. So hopefully now, I think this is coming in. I think this is a dependency that is expected from having installed React admin. It is kind of, okay. Okay, that looks a lot better. So they don't have build query actually defined yet. So you can see your build query is not defined, which is correct. Now, build query. Okay, so it's using GraphQL query, build field lists, introspection stuff. Do we have schema? What do we have for our GraphQL stuff already? We've got GraphQL Nexus. It's possible that we client. So I think client is pulling in this UI. Use link configs. Oh no, it's coming from server. GraphQL isomorphic. Okay. And server is using UI. So the server is running and serving our UI. And it Nexus. I don't remember what Nexus is offhand, but I think that great. npm. Oh. You know what I mean, Google. Thank you. Nexus. Schema constructor. So this is a lot of code to hook this up. Can we? I mean, I guess we don't really want to rely on. Okay. We are gonna double check to make sure. So I mean, we can set something up. It's fine. But if we're already sort of down a path in another package, it would be nice to keep that consistent. Simulacrum. And I thought that we pulled in some UI stuff. Then the question is, spike a GraphQL simulator. The question is, what is GraphQL.js the thing that using in a browser? So we're already using GraphQL.js. Jordan spiked out a couple things here. UUID. So it probably makes the most sense to follow that same path. GraphQL. What is this? Star Wars. So like we've got a bunch of schema stuff here. So this is all running on the server. So it has actually got access to the store. Whereas this is going to be React admin is going to be client side. So it's going to be need to make queries. GraphQL playground. GraphQL. I guess we really only care about the package.json, right? Configs. Really need anything from the config either. So express atom envelope. Yes, what is this? I know they were working on stuff there. Is it an envelope? Interesting. I mean, really, we just want the whole state of the server. So it we're gonna have all right. Where'd that one page go? React admin, data providers. There's really not anything else on here, is there? Google Sheets, GraphQL. So that uses Apollo. JSON, local storage, parse, Postgres. So I think what we're actually, it seems like we're using this GraphQL.js. Because all of this, for the most part, is server side. We're using this on the server side. Yep. Okay. So we are instead going to use this. So the result of a query against the type schema. So like all we really need to do is this, I think. From GraphQL. Oh, wait. The reference. Wait a minute. I thought there was an actual like GraphQL.js. Like GraphQL simulator. Yes. How's everybody doing? A couple people in here, but y'all are pretty quiet today. Graph. This is gonna give me a lot of stuff to click through. 140 dash. I thought it was. Alright, what was I seeing now? Is that in the server? Someplace was using this, wasn't it? GraphQL.js. What the heck? Where did I see that? GraphQL. It's not just GraphQL, is it? No, Nexus is the. There's GraphQL. But is there GraphQL.js? I guess that's it. Yeah, GraphQL.js. Okay. We've got it installed already. I'm pretty certain. Server. Let's look at our UI. Do we have graphql? Maybe that was only in the server that I saw GraphQL. Oh, not a dev dependency. HGH. Okay. Let's go ahead and grab that. And we can at the same time remove this. Can we put React admin in here too? React DOM, TypeScript. Ah. You know what? Yep, we put it in the root. Okay. I'm surprised it didn't warn us. Okay. Because I don't want it in the root. I want this. I don't want this. So npm remove. Ah. I have to do it from the. Is that going to remove it from the root? -w at some simulacrum/UI. Okay. And we've got GraphQL in there and graphical. All right. So if we just now run a query in this, let's switch to this. We're gonna have to look at our schema. I'm not gonna be able to set elements directly. So what I'm gonna do is this, and we're just gonna do console.log result for right now. Let's see if we can at least get our data in here. And we're going to need to set up our schema, GraphQL. So that goes away. Yeah, so we're gonna need to do something like this. And I guess we can do just the schema inline for right now. And I think it's just gonna be, we're gonna have to start the server. Well, no. Yeah, okay, make schema from Nexus. Interfaces. So it's using Nexus. I don't know if we can do that stuff on the front end. I don't really want to rely on the stuff that's within the server. So I think we're gonna just try to spin this up to get some data in here, and we'll go from there. So my schema is gonna be fields state, and that's going to be object. I'm not sure what my result is going to be. Type. Oh. See, I don't know enough about the GraphQL types to like be able to do this off the cuff. So we're probably gonna get some errors. And I need to be able to point to the right server to query. So I think my query is just gonna be like literally like that. And I think all I want is like the state. But we're still gonna need to GraphQL. Experimental features. Oh, nice call. They do work. They do some good work. Yeah, see. Build schema. Are we using that? So like rather than hitting a server from an API server, like I want to do this on the front end. GraphQL clients, graphical. So we're gonna have to figure out where our endpoint is. Oh. Query. Okay. So heck, we can just do a fetch. I thought you had to use GraphQL. Or I was expecting it to be more involved that I would need to use GraphQL. But that makes sense. So let's do fetch. See if we can get this rolling. I don't know what the endpoint is. So we'll go ahead and just grab this for the time being. I don't want that, I don't want that, I don't want that, and that can stay. Okay, so we're gonna switch this to watch, because the Simulacrum server starts up and uses the UI. So if we set this to do watch, it's going to build every time we make a change. And then in the root, what we can do is we have a watch, but we want to start the server. So packages/server. And I think we've got a script in here to start it. Start. Yep. Dist. So we should. We gotta watch that too. I'm not sure how it pulls it in offhand. We might need to build that too. But let's just try starting it. I think that's going to give us the endpoint. We can start up. Okay. And I think I can set a port. I'll actually do that. We'll say port equals 6500. And I think that's going to start it up with yeah, it's not going to start it up with that port. All right. Start. Where are you getting the port? Process. Yeah. Port. Did not like my port. Don't think it liked my port. Oh. Echo. This is new shell, and I always forget how to set environment variables in new shell. That should work. To all right. All right. Just gonna cheat and do this because I don't want to look up how to start that. Okay, console.log process.env.port. Port. Fine. Alright, so that should tell us the port. Undefined, yep. It's set. Alright. New shell.sh. I have to look this up every time. Environment variables. Env. Okay, so I just want to do, I think, is it let env? Environment. Single use. Scoped. Let env port equals 6500. All right. Thank you. 500. So this gives us our simulator or our graphical server now. And we should be able to also go here. Yeah. So this is an error that's coming from the app stuff that we have added. Just progress, right? Probably don't have any history to pull from, so come on, query. Subscription. State, yeah. So there's a, you can subscribe to the state. So maybe what we would do is fetch is just going to give us the data, which isn't really going to help us. Type. Okay. Not very helpful. What does fragment give us? Nothing. Oh, it's a graphql fragment. Ah, nice. Okay. Um, so, looking at work messages quick. Looks like we might try out some GitHub code spaces. Okay. So I wonder if query is only returning okay because we don't have any data yet. I think we've got example. All right, we've got a lot of stuff open now. We're not going to need React admin for the moment. That's not coming in until later. Simulacrum. We want to. Okay, we've got some things. Not examples. I guess that's probably. Sure. Mutation. I see. So this is specifically a mutation create. What was it? Create simulation. We have to give it a simulator. We don't really have any other simulators, do we? And that is really the first thing that we need to do. And what is this doing for us? So it's creating a simulator, a person simulator. Okay, which is fine. I mean, create simulation server. Simulators person. Host. Okay. So I mean, we should be able to then query that. We have a person, so I think we can do mutation given. Thought there was a way to do it off of the person. What are you going to give us? So docs, query. So mutation we can do. Create a simulation. I thought we had one though. Oh, I broke my server. Okay, so mutation. We want to create a simulation. Server. Does client have any? Nope. I was pretty certain that we had merged in stuff to do a person simulator. Usage, create simulation, auth0. So that's specifically the auth0 one. But it should be creating just a person simulator too that I thought we could hit. And can we search? Let's search for person. So what I'm hoping for, create simulator, yeah. I want the GraphQL to do it though. Like I know how to do it this way, but server readme. Issues. Oh, nice. I'm not even sent in. So what I'm looking for is, I thought we had an example too in one of the issues. Listen for events, demo, add a person simulator. Okay, so that's got some mutations in here. Mutation. So given a person, so we create a simulation. Ah, okay. So all we need to do is create simulation with the seed. Simulators person. That's what I was looking for. Okay. I knew we could do it. And ID. I want to return the ID. It was provided, actually. My formatting is just not great. Okay, let's just type it out. Mutation. Create person simulator. So if I name it, it should then show up in the history. Sure, I don't, fine. Or actually I could run them separate, so I can have multiple of them. So create simulation. Here we want seed as one. Simulators. So just one person. Yes, double quotes. Person simulator, and then we want to return an ID. There we go. Okay, now we are rolling. So now what we can do is do another mutation. So mutation, create person. Given a person, that's what it is. Given a person, and this is going to be our simulation, should create a person for us. Create person. So now we can do subscription state subscription state. So now we can subscribe. So we have things that we're working with, and what we want to do is we want to query for that store. And I think it's being served at this host. So I think what I can do is I can just fetch from the root, give it my query. So stop. So let's see if we've got anything in the query now. Query. Okay. That's not helpful. Let's just say query state and see what it gives us. Must provide query string. So it's going there. Fetch. We're posting with a thing that says query state. Can we do? Yeah, so like we could do some Autodesk GraphQL. It's possible. It is possible. No. Did it build it? Building. Yep. It looks like it built it. Let's just to be certain of the world. Drop that in there. Okay, so it's not actually hitting that. Use effect. Bad request. Graph, right? It's that graph, right? That should be our UI. And it should be linking that up. Let's double check. Start. Simulation server running. Protocol. Simulators. Create simulation server. I'm hoping that we can get at least a response before we call it a day. That would be the ideal. Person simulator guards. That's just like an echo server, yeah. Create simulation server. Chapter comes from that. and UI app dir is dist. So my dist should have that. So it's entirely possible that, oh, so Express needs to be expecting Express for spa. So it's a single that Express JS single page app. So it's serving, the server is doing app dir express static at that endpoint. So express.static and I don't know how to point it to the right. So we need every URL to point to this to the root. Run project done. Yay. There's a big blob of text here. So what I want to do is pass that join default URL for website. So app.use that static default to that. So what is this GraphQL HTTP Express GraphQL server port app? Create effects. I think that's what's happening. I'm not sure how the GraphQL API hooks into it though. I don't know that offhand either. None of this is really okay. One route. So it's doing router. I mean, but why isn't using? Why aren't they using static? Send file render. Oh, Express. Man, I can't remember the last time I looked at Express. It works just fine, but I just have not. Get. So use slash and that. So what's the express.static? Express.static. So, oh, here, specify amount path. I mean, I guess it's everything, right? I think I want to do this. That. Okay. So if I do that, and I need to build it again. And start it. Let's see if that gives it what I'm looking for. Okay. Nope. Unexpected token. Use static. Oh. Relative to the static directory. So I don't know if I actually want to do. I think I do want to do the res.send. Not as properly set. Yeah, because like this. Yeah, so I think I actually want to do the res.send. I mean, this isn't really what I want, but. After. Gapter is just going to give us that directory. And I don't need the star anymore because it's going to do it for everything. I want to use it for all routes. Stop it. Let's see. I'm on the right route here. So I think the server will start up. It's going to then send that file for any route. But I'm not sure if it's going to goof up our GraphQL server. That's the only thing that I'm not 100% on. Oh, okay, it's giving me the path. Dist. Oh. Oh. So the problem here is that I needed to go to the index, and the index is cat. Yeah. Oh no, there is an index.html. Okay. So I need to do this path.join stuff. Do we have path on here? We do not. Path. Suppose I probably need to join it. Index.html. Put that right under the appdir. So import join. Path. Got a cough here. Okay. Let's rerun that. Do I need to? Yeah, I think I need to. Build. Is that any use? Routes. Oh. So I guess I do need to do star. What's funny is I've been doing so much like build time stuff. So like static site generators. That's why it's been so long since I had to stand one of these up. All right. Serve my app, please. Res.send. So I'm sending that. I want to send the file. So app.get route and handler request response.send. Like I don't want it to just be the static directory. I want it to be the index. Oh gosh, these are getting real old here. I mean, I don't think it's changed. So app.get star I do think I actually need to keep that static in there now though, now that I think about it. Because everything needs to be relative to that. So close. We'll try it. It might just give us nothing. Still. Build, send file. Okay, what? Alright, so .use express.static after. So that should put, so that's going to serve everything in that folder. Basically the root of my server is going to mirror that. And I want all requests to be routed to that file, and then that file should hopefully pull everything from we're getting there. We've got our file now, but it's not able to load this stuff. If I go to graph, what do I get? Does this not exist? Oh. Let's just try this. See if we can get. I keep doing that. I need to deal with that code formatter in Simulacrum. This should get us back to square root 1 at least. It's not. What? Must provide a query string. I mean, that's not really what I want. I don't want just graph to do it too. I want all the routes. I'm gonna have to look that up. I feel like I'm still doing something a little bit wrong with this, but I at least just want to get this back to being served graph. Huh. Is that really what's goofing it up? Nothing works now. What? Okay. Build start. I'm using that directory. Well. Oh my gosh. Really? It was caching it? I'm gonna be annoyed if that does work. So rebuild this. So it must have been caching that failure or something. Let's make sure to do a hard reload. Okay, so that's working. Hard reload. That's working. Here we go. Okay. Data returned. We've got errors. Cannot query state. So I kind of wonder if we're gonna actually need to put a query in here, and that's where we're getting stuck. So like in our server, we just don't have, like, that's just not available. Let's make sure that I didn't goof up the mutations. Looks like I did not. Okay. So I think that's gonna work fine for us. And basically what this is saying is save that whole route. And then if we get any routes with a get, not a post, send the file at the root. And I kind of wonder if I can just do this. We'll try it real quick. And I think where we are, do not save, save. I think what we're gonna have to look at adjusting is getting our server to return a query. Although we do kind of want to subscribe to that. Start. So it could very well mean that see if this works. Path must be absolute. Yep, okay. All right. I was right. I did need that. Got that in there. All right. So I think what's going to end up happening is that this fetch isn't going to work. We want to subscribe to this. And I think that ends up meaning potentially pulling in Apollo with that, assuming we don't have anything else anywhere. And there's some of these newer libraries that I'm less familiar with, like Envelop, that might have some of this, but I'm not 100% certain. So, you know, we will look into it, and this might be something that we follow up on later. Maybe we got a couple people in here again. All right, I think that is going to be it for the day. We will. This might be something that we continue on the next stream. We're pretty busy with other things, so I might not actually get back to this until next week. In which case, I can figure out what we need to add to the server or to our UI to make this query happen. And once we get that connection, we can start to fill it out a little bit more. Yeah, because I think for the most part, config interface, lots of types. Create effects. That's all affection stuff. So we set up the server. And our person. Yeah, so that might be happening in the resolvers. Subscribe. Destroy, given. So these are the, given is what we're running in the mutations. And we do have a state, but that's a subscriber. So I kind of wonder if we, do we need a query? That is the question. I think that's the base question. Do we need to be able to support the query, or are we only going to be using the subscription? And if we are only using the subscription, which probably makes sense, subscription, don't know that we can just fetch, in which case we're gonna have to pull something else in to help us out with that, because I think the subscription is a WebSocket. Okay, I think that's the day. Thanks for everybody that stopped by. We had a quiet audience today. And we will pick it up next week. Tomorrow, Taras is streaming some continued work on Backstage stuff, Backstage Open Mic. There is the schedule down below, so down there a little bit. So feel free to subscribe to the calendar, or you can see what events are coming up next there. And we'll likely be doing these streams weekly, so hope to see everybody next time. Goodbye.